Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and enjoy this fanfic part 1. Now let's start the fanfic. It was a day like any other at the Konoha Ninja Academy. Yumino Iruka was giving a lesson on ninjutsu and chakra, and when these topics are discussed, one question is never far from the students' minds. Sensei asked his pink-haired student, Haruno Sakura, how do ninja use elemental jutsu? Excellent question, Sakura. Does anyone know the answer? Iruka questioned. Nature transformation is an advanced form of chakra control. It entails the molding and defining of one's chakra into an innate type of chakra nature, altering its properties and characteristics. Nature transformation is one of two necessary techniques for creating a technique, its counterpart being shape transformation, stated the ever-brooding Uchiha Sasuke. Correct, stated the scarred Chunin instructor. Of course you would know, Sasuke-kun, squealed Ino, voicing the opinion of 99% of the classroom's female occupants. Now Ino, no interruptions, reprimanded Iruka sensei. Now can anyone name the 5 basic elements? Fire, wind, lightning, earth, and water, answered Sakura. Now Sasuke-kun will notice how smart I am, cha. That is correct, Sakura, stated Iruka, but what many people do not know is that there are 3 more nature transformations. Does anyone know what they are? At that the class got so silent one could hear the buzzing of Aburame Shino's insects, as the students thought of what the answer could possibly be. Well, don't feel bad, these are rather obscure affinities. In fact, only one person is believed to have mastered all 3, and his existence is believed by many to be a myth, Iruka stated. They are yin, yang, and yin-yang release. Sensei, a certain blonde questioned, who was this person? Iruka, happy to know Naruto was paying attention, answered, the Rakudo Sennin. 6 paths? Questioned Naruto, as in the 6 paths of the desire realm in Buddhist cosmology. Getting over the shock of his students' knowledge of any religion, Iruka stated, I am afraid I can't answer that, Naruto. Giving into his curiosity, Iruka then asked his own question, why do you ask, Naruto? A better question is, how does a baka like him know anything about Buddhism, proclaimed Inuzuka Kiba, Naruto's self-proclaimed rival. I know because I was talking to those monks in the village, dog breath. Yelled an irate Uzumaki. Settle down, both of you. Iruka then continued, back to my question, why do you ask, Naruto? I just wanted to know because if those 6 paths are the same, then there should be one more nature transformation, stated a slightly smug Naruto. And that would be? Questioned the scarred instructor. Nothing. Laughter could be heard throughout the academy at that statement. Quiet, all of you. The irate sensei screamed. Calming down, he then admonished, Naruto, I thought you had a serious question. But sensei, I was being serious, Naruto cried. The monks said that along with yin and yang there is mu, nothingness. I think the same is true for Taoism. Naruto, I don't believe utilizing nothingness would be an effective style, even if it was possible, stated Iruka. Ha! I'm gonna be the Hokage someday, so I'll bet I could create a ton of mu-style jutsu and show everyone just how effective it can be, Naruto proclaimed. That should be easy for you, Naruto, stated Sakura in a mocking tone. Really? Questioned Naruto, thinking Sakura was finally starting to see how great he was, and missing her tone of voice completely. Yeah, after all, that's exactly what you are, a big nothing, Sakura finished, breaking the poor boy's heart in the process. Hurt but not discouraged, Naruto went on to proclaim, I'm not nothing and I'll show you that I can do it. Sensing things were getting out of hand, Iruka quickly stated, alright class, that's enough for today, class dismissed. Naruto was the first one out, thinking, I'll show them, they won't laugh at me or call me nothing ever again. With that in mind, Naruto went to find the monks and asked them to teach him about mu. When the last of his students left, Iruka allowed his fatigue to show and slumped into his chair. I don't know what I am going to do with those kids, he said to no one in particular. A Rio for your thoughts? A playful, feminine voice questioned. Looking over to the side, Iruka spied a beautiful purple-haired woman in a mesh shirt and tan trench coat. It was his sort of secret girlfriend Mitarashi Anko. The two didn't actively try to hide that they were together, they just didn't advertise it. At least not after Morino Ibiki and Yuahi Kuranai decided, on two separate occasions, to make sure Iruka's intentions were pure. A smile, albeit a tired one, found its way to Iruka's face as he asked, Anko-chan, when did you get here? Anko replied, I've been here for a while now, I just wanted the Gakis to leave. For the first time in a while, so did I, Iruka stated, remembering why he was tired. Naruto goofing off again? Questioned the special Jonin. No, the class was ganging up on him. He was actually on his best behavior today, answered Iruka. Oh, it was meant to be a routine lecture on chakra and ninjutsu, Iruka started to explain. But, Anko pressed. But then nature transformation was brought up, Iruka continued. That wasn't the problem though, he added, seeing her confused look. Then what is? I mentioned the yin, yang, and yin-yang release, and that caught Naruto's interest, Iruka said. He then asked for details about who mastered the three releases. The Rakudo Sennin, Anko stated. Yes, but then he asked a few questions I found very interesting, Iruka stated. Which were? Anko asked. He asked about the six paths and how they related to Buddhism, Iruka started. I see he's been learning from the monks in his spare time, Anko noted. I think he's just happy someone besides me, Tsuki, Ayame, and the Sandame don't glare at him, Iruka replied. He then continued, that wasn't what caused the problem though, he asked about a fourth release. And that was? Anko asked, now fully immersed in Iruka's story. Nothing. Not funny, Iruka. Don't think I won't cut you off from this for the next month if you do something like that again, Anko reprimanded while rubbing her hands up and down her body in a provocative manner. But Anko-chan, that is exactly how he phrased it, Iruka stammered. The citizens of Konoha may think I'm some kind of saint, but I have needs too, damn it. Iruka thought, hoping to appease his snake mistress. Wait, what? Anko asked. Her frustration forgotten, her emotional frustration at least. Well, at least he didn't call my bluff. She thought, remembering why she came to the academy in the first place. He said the monks told him about nothingness. Iruka answered. I'm not sure I follow, Anko admitted. I didn't either, honestly, but I tried to answer as best I could. I was just happy he was participating, Iruka confessed. I still don't see the problem, said Anko. It's just he then became determined to be the first to create the release. I didn't want to dash his hopes, so I kept my mouth shut. Unfortunately, the other students didn't share my thoughts on the matter, Iruka lamented. Why? What happened? Anko asked. She didn't know Naruto personally, but if he was important to Iruka, he was important to her. Sakura decided to voice her opinion. She said it should be easy for Naruto to do something like that, Iruka stated. The pink-haired girl, though she didn't like him, much less believe he can do anything, Anko said. She doesn't, she meant it would be easy for him because he is, and I quote, a big nothing, Iruka finished. By this time he was shaking with anger. He wasn't alone. Anko was seething after hearing that. Both she and Iruka knew how it felt to feel like and be treated like nothing. It brought back bad memories of just after Orochimaru abandoned her. She also remembered what Iruka's life was like after the Kyuubi attack almost 12 years ago. Fortunately, the discussion carried us to the end of class, so I was able to stop things from escalating, Iruka said. After calming herself, Anko said, From what you've told me, Naruto isn't someone who would attack Sakura, let alone raise his voice to her. That isn't what I meant. The class likes to gang up on him when things like this happen, Iruka stated. He then continued, but this is different too. The kids laugh at his dream, but none of them have called him nothing before. And yet his classmates, and the village at large, do all they can to make him feel that way, Anko stated. I know, Iruka said solemnly. He should be alright though. Hinata went after him, she'll make sure he's okay. Ah, the lengths we kunoichi go to for our shinobi, Anko joked. But let's change the subject, shall we? Yes, let's, Iruka said, happy for the opportunity he needed to ask a question of his own. Anko-chan, he started. How does a romantic evening with just the two of us sound? Asked Iruka. You mean we're gonna do it in one of the T&I holding cells tonight? Anko asked semi-seriously. No. Well, maybe if you really want, but I was thinking more like dinner, Iruka managed to get out. Wait. Did you say, maybe, to the at my workplace idea? Anko asked incredulously. That's what caught her attention. Iruka mentally asked himself as a sweat drop formed. If that's what you want, just so long as we could do the same here one day, Iruka answered. The beautiful Kunoichi glomped her boyfriend and said, Oh, Iruka-kun, I didn't know you were into that kind of thing. The nice ones always have a taste for danger, got it memorized. Iruka responded, looking forward to where this evening would take him and his beloved Anko-chan. Hyuga Hinata, the heiress to the prestigious Hyuga clan, was a girl on a mission, find one Uzumaki Naruto and make sure he was alright. With her Kekkei Genkei, the Byakugan, finding him was easy. Her real problem is what to say to him when she did find him. Hinata was a shy girl, even more so when her crush, Naruto, was near, but after what Sakura said in class, Hinata believed that she would have to at least ask Naruto if he was alright. Hinata knew that Naruto would usually brush off what others said about him, no matter how hurtful the comment, but this was different. No one had ever actually called Naruto nothing before, it was usually baka, dobi, and for reasons she couldn't fathom, demon. Hinata knew what it was like to feel like nothing. Most of her clan made her feel that way all the time. She always wished she had someone to lean on when that happened, but no one in her clan would help. She decided that she was going to be there for Naruto though. After 20 minutes of searching, she spotted him. No one else in the village wore as much orange as her blonde hero after all. He was talking to the monks who had stopped at the village. Naruto-kun, she thought happily, you're alright. I'm glad. Now that she spotted him though, Hinata was quickly losing her nerve, a common occurrence much to her annoyance. Ah, it seems we have a visitor, one of the monks noted. Is she a friend of yours, Naruto-kun? Huh. Oh hey Hinata, what's up, Dadbeo? Naruto greeted enthusiastically. Anyo, Naruto-kun, I was worried about you after what happened in class. What Sakura did was uncalled for. Hinata managed to get out, while blushing a color Naruto had affectionately dubbed Hinata red. Yeah, I thought so too, but I've gotten used to it, Naruto stated sadly. What exactly happened? Questioned the eldest monk, Ichiro. Ichiro was a man in his mid to late 60s and was very much the image one would have of a monk, bald with a long white beard. A girl in our class called me nothing is all. Ichiro mused. In a way she is right, you know. What? Naruto stammered out. Don't worry Naruto-kun, I mean that each of us is like the vacuum of space, stated Ichiro. How so? Questioned Hinata, now curious as to what the monk was going to say. Are you too familiar with the idea of dark matter? Dark matter? Naruto questioned. In astronomy and cosmology, Dark matter is a type of matter hypothesized to account for a large part of the total mass in the universe. Dark matter cannot be seen directly with telescopes. Evidently, it neither emits nor absorbs light or other electromagnetic radiation at any significant level. Instead, its existence and properties are inferred from its gravitational effects on visible matter, radiation, and the large-scale structure of the universe. Based on the Standard Model of Cosmology, the total mass energy of the universe contains 4.9% ordinary matter, 26.8% dark matter and 68.3% dark energy. Thus, dark matter is estimated to constitute 84.5% of the total matter in the universe and 26.8% of the total content of the universe, Ichiro explained. So it might not exist? Questioned Hinata. Correct, Hinata-chan, Ichiro stated. But what does that have to do with humans? Naruto questioned. On a molecular level, everything looks like space, Ichiro stated. I still don't understand, Naruto admitted. The bonds between molecules are loose, much like the distance between planets, Ichiro stated. Are we filled with dark matter too? Hinata questioned. If it exists, then we most likely are, Ichiro finished. He then continued, going back to our original topic, what did you want to know, Naruto-kun? I was wondering if you can teach me about Mu. I want to try to create a set of ninjutsu based around that, Naruto reminded the monk. Interesting, Ichiro mused. Really? You think it's possible? Naruto asked. I can't say for sure, Naruto-kun. Many people would think you're crazy for suggesting such a thing, Ichiro said. He then continued, and most people don't know this, people thought Senju Hashirama was crazy before he and Uchiha Madara created Konoha. Awesome, Naruto exclaimed. Careful, Naruto-kun, Ichiro warned, if such a thing is possible it will be far more difficult than creating a ninja village. Mu is a state of mind. First and foremost, you will need that to get started, and you are still so young. I know, but I'm not afraid of a challenge, Naruto stated. What do you think, Hinata-chan? Asked Ichiro. Anyo. I think Naruto-kun can do anything he puts his mind to, Hinata stated with as much confidence as she could muster. Ah, but that would be the problem, wouldn't it? Ichiro stated. Oh, I think I understand, Naruto stated. We shall see. Come, Naruto-kun, I shall help you achieve a state of Mu, Ichiro stated. Awesome, arigato Ichiro Jiji, Naruto exclaimed. Naruto-kun, a mortified Hinata admonished. Gomenasai, Ichiro-sama. Now none of that, Hinata-chan, I am a man just like any other, Ichiro stated. He went on to say, I actually find Naruto-kun's energy to be refreshing. He's also doing me a favor. Really? Naruto asked. Yes, Mifune-sama of Iron Country has requested help in teaching samurai hopefuls to achieve a state of Mu, Ichiro stated. He went on, if I can help someone as energetic as Naruto-kun to achieve Mu, I should have no problem with the young trainees. Hey, Naruto stated, sounding slightly hurt. My apologies, Naruto-kun, I just fear that your energy and youth will work against you in this, Ichiro responded. I'm not afraid of a challenge, Ichiro Jiji. I'll achieve Mu and create the Mu release before the school year is up, Naruto proclaimed, practically radiating confidence. Don't get ahead of yourself, Naruto-kun, we haven't even started yet, Ichiro reminded him. Okay. Ichiro-sensei, Naruto quickly corrected. That's a good first step, Naruto-kun, let us go somewhere with less traffic, Ichiro said. He then asked, care to join us, Hinata-chan? Friends of Naruto-kun are welcome to join us. Yeah, come on, Hinata-chan, it will be great. Naruto exclaimed. Hinata-chan was echoing inside the poor Hyuga girl's head as she finally fainted. Ah, Hinata-chan, Naruto said with worry. She will be fine, Naruto-kun. She just fainted, Ichiro pointed out. Come, let us take her home. Okay. Thank you, Ichiro-sensei, Naruto said. For what? For coming with me to take Hinata-chan home. The Hyuga clan doesn't like me very much, most of the village doesn't. I am sorry to hear that, Naruto-kun. I have only known you for a short while, but I see nothing to dislike. Sniff. Thank you so much, sensei, stated Naruto, holding back tears of happiness. You don't have to thank me for being honest, Naruto-kun. Hey, Ichiro-sensei. Yes. Why do you think Hinata-chan fainted? Is she sick? Naruto asked in all seriousness. Oh, Naruto-kun, it seems you have much more to learn. Hopefully what I teach you will help with this too, Ichiro thought. He then said, I do not believe so, Naruto-kun, but I am sure Hinata-chan will tell you why herself one day. And with that, the two made their way to the Hyuga compound to drop off Hinata, before beginning Naruto's training. Ichiro and Naruto arrived at the Hyuga compound within mere minutes after Hinata fainted. Naruto hoped that there wouldn't be any trouble, but alas, it was not to be. At the entrance to the main branch household stood Hinata's bodyguard, Hyuga Ko. After seeing the young heiress being carried by the blonde Jinchuriki, he all but flew into a rage. Boy, what have you done to Hinata-sama? The angry steward demanded. I haven't done anything, at least I don't think I did, Naruto said in his defense. Then get your filthy hands off her now, brat! Shouted Ko. Young man, there is no need to be rude, said Ichiro, coming to the young boy's rescue. Young Hinata-chan fainted. My young friend was simply bringing her home. Who are you? Demanded the irate Hyuga. Ko, a commanding voice said, calm down. From the doorway, the head of the Hyuga main household, Hyuga Hiyashi, could be seen. But Hiyashi-sama, Ko pleaded. Silence, commanded Hiyashi. My apologies, Monk-sama. Uzumaki-san, my fellow clansman is quite protective of my eldest daughter. It is quite alright, Hyuga-sama. I am more interested in what Ko-san was about to call this young man beside me, said Ichiro. Oh, questioned the Hyuga head. Yes, it sounded like he was about to say demon before he corrected himself, Ichiro stated. I and my fellow monks have been in this fine village for over a week, and I have never known Naruto-kun to be anything less than a kind young man. If Ko-san would like, I could refer him to an excellent optometrist so that he may be able to see the difference between a demon and a child. Now see here, Ko began. Ko, take Hinata to her room, Hiyashi ordered. He then continued, we will discuss your. Hiyashi paused as he chose his next words, lack of manners later. Hi, Hiyashi-sama. Once Ko had gone inside, Hiyashi continued, I thank you for bringing my daughter home. I trust she was no trouble. No trouble, Hyuga-sama. I found her to be well-mannered and sweet, Ichiro told the Hyuga head. Yeah, Hinata-chan's great, Naruto added. Brief though it might have been, a smile played on Hiyashi's face at the praise his daughter was receiving. I thank you again, gentlemen, but I must now take my leave, Hiyashi said. That is fine, Hyuga-sama, Ichiro stated. Naruto-kun and I have things to do ourselves. I know I should not pry, but may I ask what a monk and an academy student would be doing together? Asked Hiyashi, his curiosity getting the better of him. Ichiro-sensei is going to teach me to achieve a state of mu. Naruto exclaimed. Mu? Questioned the now confused Hyuga. That is rather advanced for an academy student, is it not? Perhaps, admitted Ichiro, but Naruto-kun wishes to be the first shinobi to use mu release. At that, the Hyuga head let out a chuckle. I'll do it, just watch me. Exclaimed Naruto. My apologies again, Uzumaki-san, I was not laughing at you, Hiyashi said. It is just that you remind me of another man who claimed he could do the impossible. Really? Naruto asked. not completely convinced. Yes, the Yondaime, while not quite as vocal as you, always tried to prove he could do anything, Hiashi said. Whoa, seriously? Naruto questioned once more. Yes, although he never tried to create a new nature transformation, let alone based on nothing, Hiashi finished. Naruto-kun, we must hurry, Ichiro reminded the blonde. I am only in this village for one more week. I cannot help you after that. You're right, sensei, Naruto said. Turning to Hiashi he said, it was nice meeting you Hyuga-sama. And you as well, Uzumaki-san, Hiashi said. Then, surprising everyone, the Hyuga head said, Ichiro-sama, I have a request. Yes, Hyuga-sama, if it is not too much trouble, would it be alright if my daughter joined you too after today? I think she would benefit from your teachings, Hiashi finished. I see no problem Hyuga-sama with your request, Ichiro said. He then asked, do you Naruto-kun? Ichiro asked. The more the merrier, Naruto responded. Very well then, will you take her to your training spot tomorrow Uzumaki-san? Hiashi asked the blonde. Of course, Hyuga-sama, Naruto said. I've kept you both long enough, now I must speak with Ko, Hiashi said as he turned to leave. Bye, Hyuga-sama, Naruto said. Until next time, Ichiro added. With that, the two made their way to Training Ground 7. I know it was brief sensei, but what Ko-tem said got to me, even though I should be used to it, Naruto noted solemnly. No one should have to get used to such treatment Naruto-kun, Ichiro pointed out. But now I need you to empty your mind of all things. I'll try sensei, Naruto said. Meditation and mu are not something you try to do Naruto-kun, they are both something you allow to happen, Ichiro corrected. Hi, sensei. An hour later Ichiro finally said, it is getting late and you have class tomorrow, I think we should end here for now. Alright sensei, a disappointed Naruto said. Do not get discouraged Naruto-kun, Ichiro said, few people achieve mu on their first attempt, and mediation is the same way. But, I thought it was something I let happen, Naruto stated. That is true, but one should really practice emptying their mind before attempting meditation. I just wanted to see if you were still committed to this after you learned how difficult it would be, Ichiro admitted. Of course, the future Hokage can't back out of something just because it might be hard, Naruto said. He continued, I also said I would do this and create the mu release, and I never go back on my word, that's my nindo. Alright Naruto-kun, you show such drive for one so young, said an impressed Ichiro. Practice clearing your mind tonight before bed and we will pick where we left off here tomorrow after you are done with class. Hi sensei, and be sure to bring Hinata-chan with you, Ichiro reminded. I will sensei. Good night. Good night to you too Naruto-kun. After arriving at his apartment Naruto made himself a cup of instant ramen. While eating he went over what had happened during his time with Ichiro. I'm sure there is something I am missing. It's like I get close to meditating properly and then I feel a bunch of anger. Well, whatever, I'll just have to do what Ichiro-sensei said. Deciding that there was no time like the present, Naruto decided to get ready for bed so he could practice clearing his mind. His nightly rituals completed, Naruto changed into his pajamas and sat on his bed in a lotus position. After a few minutes Naruto was able to block all external distractions, but his mind was still racing. Maybe I should try to focus on one thing and go from there, Naruto thought, thank Kami I wear a nightcap. With that in mind, Naruto began to focus on the piece of cloth on the top of his head. It quickly became apparent that this was a step in the right direction as Naruto was able to focus on a certain point. After a few minutes, Naruto was coming close to ignoring even this when he felt something pull on his mind. Kuso, I know I almost had it that time, Naruto cursed as he opened his eyes. It was then he noticed his surroundings, it looked like he was in the middle of a sewer. Ah, gross, he exclaimed as he stood up quickly. Since he was in the lotus position, he was up to his hips in sewer water. Come to me, an ominous voice said. I know I probably shouldn't, but maybe I'll find an exit on the way, Naruto thought. With nothing else to go on, it seemed like a reasonable idea, so Naruto set out to follow the voice. After a few minutes, Naruto noticed something strange about this sewer. This is strange, there's only one way to go, no detours or anything, just what kind of sewer is this? After a few more minutes, Naruto reached a dead end, at least he thought it was a dead end. A cage? What's a cage doing in a sewer? Just look at the size of it. The cage in question was at least the size of the Hokage mansion. Closer, the voice from before said. Why? Naruto asked. What? Why should I come closer? Because I am a mysterious disembodied voice, you are supposed to do as I say, the voice responded, its irritation evident in its tone. That sounds stupid and dangerous and I'm not going to do it, Naruto responded. Grr, was all that could be heard as a giant claw hit against the bars in a feeble attempt to impale Naruto. Alright, fine, Naruto sighed as he came just a few inches shy of where the tip of the claw's nails would reach. So who are you exactly? Naruto asked. I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune, the most powerful of all Biju, the now identified Kyuubi replied. After letting that sink in for a few minutes, Naruto finally said, You're a lot smaller than I imagined. You meet a giant fox and that is all you have to say. An incredulous Kyuubi shouted. No, I would also like to know where we are, Naruto said. We are in your subconscious. Oh, neat I guess. Don't you have any questions, for example, why am I here? Not really. I was born the night you attacked, people call me Fox Brat, and sometimes I see something on my stomach, which I now know is a seal. Also, even when I was alone, for some reason I could feel another presence, I assume that was you. I've been here for years but have never known you to be particularly perceptive. When did this happen? I guess Ichiro-sensei and the others have been a good influence on me. Ah yes, the monks, Kyuubi noted. Kyuubi then asked, people treat you the way they do because of me, yet you don't seem particularly resentful, why is that? You aren't the problem, people's closed-mindedness is the problem. Obviously, I attacked this village, didn't I? Perhaps, but after speaking with you I don't think you did it on a whim. People say I'm a monster, isn't that enough? For other people maybe, but I don't know your story, what made you this way? I told you I am a monster, Kyuubi said, trying to get his point across. I don't believe that, at least not anymore, and I know you don't either. Fine, you win boy, I suppose there's no harm in telling you my story, said Kyuubi. Might as well get comfortable kid, this is going to be a long story, he suggested. Okay, but what about? Don't worry, I put your physical body to sleep, the Kyuubi said, anticipating Naruto's question. Oh, good. After taking a deep breath, the Kyuubi began his story. Long ago, before the founding of the shinobi villages, during an era of endless wars between humans, there existed the Shinju, a tree that was revered as a deity which bore a fruit once every 1,000 years. Although it was forbidden to consume the Shinju's fruit, it was eaten by Princess Otsutsuki Kagaya, who used the chakra infused into her body to end the wars plaguing the lands. However, after Kagaya gave birth to a son who inherited the same type of powerful chakra, the Shinju's desire to reclaim its stolen power caused the tree to assume a monstrous form of what many christened as the Jubi. The furious Jubi rampaged throughout the lands until Kagaya's son managed to single-handedly defeat the beast and sealed it within himself. This act, along with many other great deeds in his life, resulted with Hagoromo becoming revered as the Rakudo Sennin. However, knowing that his death would unleash the Jubi back into the world to continue its rampage and reclaim the chakra that mankind now possesses, the sage separated the monster's chakra from its body before using Chibaku Tensai to seal the husk in what would become the moon. From there, the sage used his creation of all things ability to divide the chakra into 9 fragments that are each given a physical form and name. Over the centuries, countless humans failed to see the tailed beasts as sapient individuals with our own personalities and emotions, and because of our immense power, they sought the tailed beasts out as mere tools to be used or taken, a sentiment they absolutely detest. By the time of the formation of the shinobi villages, after his victory against Uchiha Madara in the Valley of the End, Senju Hashirama, the Shadaime, used his wood-release techniques to capture and give several tailed beasts to the other shinobi villages as peace treaties, in order to stabilize the balance of power between them. That's wrong, Naruto said. That's exactly how it happened, boy, Kyuubi said. No, I mean what they did to you was wrong, Naruto explained. I can't say for sure what I would have done, but it's plain to see that you can think and feel like anyone else, you aren't pawns of power. But what about you specifically? That knocked the Kyuubi out of its stupor. Right, over the centuries, I had gained a reputation as an age-old natural disaster, appearing suddenly out of nowhere to attack areas that have been breeding grounds for the darkest aspects of human nature. At one point during the time of the formation of the shinobi villages, the gold and silver brothers of Kumo were assigned to capture me, but I swallowed them whole. However, the 2 brothers managed to survive and gain some of its power by eating the flesh of my stomach for 2 weeks, forcing me to regurgitate them. After that event, Uchiha Madara defected from Konoha and used his Sharingan to control and use me to help him fight against Senju Hashirama in order to exact his revenge. During their battle, Madara combined his Susanoo with me, increasing my offensive and defensive capabilities. However, Hashirama was able to remove me from Susanoo and released me from Madara's control, subduing me in the process. Sometime after the battle, Hashirama deemed me too dangerous to be allowed to walk free, and his wife, Uzumaki Mito, sealed me within herself, becoming my first Jinchuriki. Uzumaki. Susanoo? Naruto questioned. Yes, as I understand it, Whirlpool Country, which had already established a village, helped create Konoha. The Uzumaki clan, the founders of that village, are distant cousins of the Senju clan. They are blessed with longevity and powerful chakra. Mito married Hashirama as part of an agreement that the 2 villages would always be allies. And before you get your hopes up, that village was destroyed long ago. Iwa and Kumo feared the fuinjutsu the Uzumaki clan was known for. Damn, also this probably means I should probably study seals. And Susanoo. Wow, he is all over the place, thought the massive Kitsune. Susanoo is the 3rd ability granted by the Mangekyo Sharingan to those who awaken the abilities Tsukuyomi, which symbolizes the darkness of the spiritual world, and Amaterasu, which denotes the light of the material world. It creates a gigantic, humanoid being that surrounds the user. As one of the strongest techniques granted to those that have acquired the Mangekyo Sharingan, it is the user's guardian deity, but at the same time, it consumes the user's life. Mangekyo Sharingan, the next level of the Sharingan, Kyuubi explained. Then, in an attempt to cut off Naruto's next line of questions, he continued, the Sharingan is awakened when the user feels loss, a strange type of chakra gathers in the brain which in turn awakens those damnable eyes. The Mangekyo Sharingan is awakened when even greater loss is experienced, but causes blindness after multiple use. The only way to prevent this is for the user to replace their eyes. In Madara's case, he used his brother's eyes, awakening the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. That's disturbing. Quite. Now, Over a period of time which included the first two Shinobi World Wars, Mito kept me sealed away except for one occasion when the seal had weakened as she was going through childbirth. Toward the end of her life, Mito passed on this status and responsibility to another member of her clan, Uzumaki Kushina, who later became the wife of Namikaze Minato, the Yondaime. Although Kushina was terrified with the responsibility of containing me, Mito assured her that my hatred was powerless against her love. Wait, why is their relationship to the cages important? It was decided that Jinchuriki should have a connection to their village's respective cage, or leader in the smaller village, to ensure their loyalty. What does that mean for me? I'm getting to that. Almost 12 years ago, after the end of the Third Shinobi World War, your Sandaime and his wife made preparations to ensure that I would remain sealed within Kushina as she gave birth to her son. However, despite keeping her childbirth a secret, a masked man discovered Kushina's location, killing her escorts and managing to break the seal, seizing control of me. Since Kushina survived the extraction, the man, who identified himself as Uchiha Madara, tried to have me kill her before the Yondaime got her and their son to safety. Soon afterwards, the masked man summoned me into Konoha and ordered me to destroy the village. While I was rampaging in the village and decimating the shinobi forces that tried to repel me, Minato managed to place a contract seal on the masked man during their fight to free me from the masked man's control. However, I still harbored, and do harbor, a deep hatred for Konoha for viewing me as nothing but a mindless beast and sealing me away for decades, and resolved to destroy the village without orders from the masked man. Before I could annihilate Konoha, Minato summoned Gamabunta on top of me, and quickly teleported me to Kushina and the baby's location, while letting my Biju Dama detonate away from the village. Soon afterwards, Kushina used her chakra chains to subdue me, planning to seal me back inside her before she died. However, Minato, knowing that I would revive without a host, and how great a threat the masked man is, came up with a plan to give their child the means to combat the masked man in the future when he decides to attack again. Since my chakra was too immense to be sealed within an infant, Minato first used the Shiki Fujin to separate and seal my yin half within himself, and then prepared the Hake no Fuin Shiki to imprison the yang half, me, within his son. I attempted to stop the process by killing the child while Kushina was weakened, but both of the parents sacrificed themselves to protect their newborn child and completed the sealing, with me cursing the pair during my last moments of freedom. Later, upon awakening within the child's subconscious and learning the nature of the seal, I quickly realized the situation behind Minato's intention. However, I calmly decided to wait and weaken the seal through the cracks of its formation with my chakra, determined to influence the boy as much as I can to use my power. You tried to kill me, that was a move. I just got out, I was in no hurry to go back, the Kyuubi stated. Remembering what Naruto said, he then asked, wait, is that all you care about? Well, it that Hokage Gigi lied about not knowing who my parents were, and I am mad you didn't try to be the bigger man, Fox, but after hearing your story I can see why you are the way you are. It's that masked man's fault my parents are dead really. Nice to see you caught that, but I thought you would be more excited. I am, but it's not like I can tell anyone, would they really believe me? No, I suppose not. I have a few more questions. Which are, is there a way to get your power back? Why do you want to know? Asked Kyuubi. I shouldn't have gotten my hopes up, he's just like the rest. Because it belongs to you. I'm glad Too-san was so concerned with my well-being, but I can't imagine how awkward this is for you. I don't know, maybe if I died and reformed, but barring that I can't say for sure. A stunned Kyuubi managed to get out. Second, is it true the Uchiha and Senju are descended from the Rakudo Sennin? Yes. But why is that important? Asked the confused Biju. Because that makes what Madara and the Shadaime did that much worse. Essentially, you and the other Biju are their aunts and uncles. They, more than anyone, should have known better than to sell you and use you as weapons. I may want to be Hokage, but the Shadaime has lost a lot of my respect. And your parents? I would like to think if they got the chance to know you things could have been different, but it seems like they did what they had to do. I'm sorry if that sound callous. It's fine. Next. Do you have a name? I do, but I don't trust you enough to tell you what it is. Do you think you will someday? Neither of us asked for this, but I would like us to be friends. I'll consider it. Fair enough. And finally, could you help me? With what? Your Mew release. I wouldn't know how. With a sigh, Naruto said, well, that's alright, I'll figure it out somehow. After a moment of consideration, the Kyuubi finally said, wait, I can't help you reach a state of Mew, but there may be something I can do. Really? An excited Naruto asked. Yes, remember when you were younger and you decided that if the people of Konoha were going to hate you that you would hate them right back? Unfortunately, yes. On an island in Kumo, there is a place called the Falls of Truth. Supposedly those who go there will face their true selves. Let me guess, their true selves are always their inner darkness. Correct. How does that help though? Naruto questioned. It isn't as though I can just go to Lightning Country. That's where I come in. I can draw that part of you out, Kyuubi explained. Awesome. Naruto shouted. Keep in mind that I can't guarantee this will help. Don't worry about it. I trust you. Maybe you are different, Naruto, the Kyuubi thought. He then said, get ready, kid. Before Naruto could blink, he was in his usual day attire facing a boy that seemed eerily familiar, yet he knew he never saw this person before. The boy had straight red hair, red irises, and black corneas. What caught Naruto's attention was that this boy had whisker marks just like him. Who are you? Naruto asked, having a feeling he wouldn't like the answer. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, the real Uzumaki Naruto, the boy said. Of course you are, Naruto said. If I could feel anything, I would probably laugh at that, Dark Naruto said. What do you mean, if you could feel anything? Naruto asked. I am your true self. I discovered the secret to attain true power. I cast off all my weak emotions, Dark Naruto explained. Why did you qualify it like that? Naruto asked. Because, faker. At this, Dark Naruto stretched out his arms as beams of red light extended out from his palms. I discovered that. Yeah, Naruto pressed, afraid of what would come next. For added effect, play Darkness of the Unknown while reading the next part. Anger and hate are supreme. Dark Naruto finished as he struck Naruto with one of the beams of light. Damn it, that hurt, and I have nothing to counter with. What I learned at the academy never prepared me for this, Naruto thought as he crashed into a wall. What the hell are those things? Naruto asked as he got back on his feet. Remember that Mew release that you are so set on creating? Dark Naruto asked. Are you saying you've already done it? Naruto asked incredulously. I have at least taken the first step. I call these the ethereal blades, but don't let the name fool you, they can be used to bludgeon as well as slash. Admittedly, they look like beams of light, but if you notice that they cast no light, they illuminate nothing. Dark Naruto explained. He's right, it looks like they are glowing, but they don't affect the shadow and they don't make things brighter either, like they are between light and dark, Naruto thought. He didn't have time to do much else as Dark Naruto charged him again, this time catching him in the chest. I think he cracked my ribs, and there's no way I can overpower him. Think. Maybe something here Kyuubi said will give me a clue. Naruto's thoughts were interrupted as he was hit with another attack from the Dark Naruto's blades. I can't take much more of this, I need the answer now. Wait. Kyuubi mentioned my old attitude towards the villagers. I thought he was just bringing that up to tell me what I would be up against, but maybe that's the clue I need. With that, Naruto remembered his long discarded philosophy. It was winter, the glares seemed extra cold. I had wandered into an empty training field and saw a frozen pond. I knew what ice was before that, but I had a though. Ice can't feel the cold, it has no warmth to cool. If I become like ice, maybe it won't be so bad. With that, I had resolved to throw away my warm emotions and live my life with an unfeeling, uncaring soul of ice. But I soon found out it had a drawback. I felt empty inside, not just when people glared at me but all the time. I never felt that way when I was by myself before. After a few days, Hokage Gigi noticed I seemed to be upset. That was the first time someone took me to the Ichiraku ramen stand. Tuki-san's and Ayame-chan's kindness helped me melt that soul of ice. I need to melt his soul of ice. Aren't you going to fight back? Dark Naruto asked, having grown bored with using Naruto as a punching bag. No, you're going to give up of your own free will, Naruto stated. Now that is funny. Why would I do that when I'm winning? Dark Naruto asked. Because we're the same. I know you'll feel empty if it ends like this, and I also know you hate that empty feeling. With that, Naruto began to make his way over to his dark side. What are you talking about? Stay away from me. Dark Naruto yelled as his ethereal blades disappeared. What's going on? What did you do? Those blades were created by your feelings of emptiness. You don't have to feel empty anymore. Let me melt that soul of ice, Naruto stated. You got rid of my blades, now you're denying me my right to exist. Dark Naruto asked, fear evident in his voice. Of course not. You're me, the me who thought he could ease his pain by making himself like ice. You don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to be alone anymore, Naruto explained. But, what will happen to me? Dark Naruto asked, calming ever so slightly. You'll stay with me, we're the yin and yang of Uzumaki Naruto. Together we'll find what lies in between, Naruto declared. With that, Dark Naruto's eyes changed to match the originals as he said, yes, you're right, let's do it. In an instant, Dark Naruto charged towards his counterpart. Before he made impact, he became transparent and merged with the original. Welcome back, Kyuubi said. Then he asked, how do you feel? Not to be insensitive, but I feel complete, Naruto answered. Don't rub it in, the Biju said. What happens now? Naruto asked. No much really. Your mind is now, as you pointed out, complete. Then do you mind if I try something before I leave? Naruto asked the Biju. Try what? Kyuubi asked. You'll see, Naruto said as he got into the lotus position. After a few minutes of nothing happening, Kyuubi began to grow impatient. Just because it's your mind doesn't mean I don't deserve to have time to myself. But the tirade was cut off as Naruto thrust out his hands and beams of bluish gray extended out of his palms, doubling his reach. I did it, Naruto said, waving his ethereal blades in his excitement. Watch it, and what is it you've done exactly? Kyuubi asked. The ethereal blades fizzled out and Naruto said, I managed to use the ethereal blades, at least for a little while. This must mean I'm headed in the right direction. Use them in battle and create some new release jutsu, then I'll be impressed, Kyuubi said. Then he added, I might even respect you enough to tell you my name afterward. But right now I think you need to wake up. Alright, thanks Kyuubi, and I'm gonna hold you to that, Naruto said as he left his mindscape, ready for the challenges of a new day. When Naruto woke up, he noticed that the Kyuubi's estimate was off. It was indeed morning, specifically 3 a.m. Great, the academy doesn't start for 4 more hours. I guess I could meditate and see if I can summon those blades again. With that, Naruto got into the lotus position and started to meditate. This time it was much easier, but he made no progress with the ethereal blades. You haven't reached Mu yet, you won't be able to summon the blades outside of your mind, a gruff voice said in Naruto's head. I should have figured, but at what point does one reach Mu? Naruto asked Kyuubi. I think the old man explained it once, you have to ignore everything around you. Who is the old man? The Rakudo Sennin, obviously. I suppose he would know, but that doesn't sound too hard. There is more to it than that. It is meditation, but it isn't like normal meditation. Either this world does not seem to take kindly to being ignored, or nothing is protective of its territory. The second part of that statement makes no sense. Does nothing have a consciousness? I don't know, this is just what I've heard. It didn't make sense when the old man said it either. The Kyuubi said, getting irritated. Sorry, but this is confusing. It's fine, but if I am correct, once you achieve Mu you won't need to meditate to use Mu release, you could just will your ethereal blades to appear. You shouldn't need hand signs for Mu Jutsu either, but that is just speculation based on what I know about Yin and Yang. Just you. Okay. Want to meditate with me? No, but I will keep quiet while you do it. Alright, I guess I should get ready for class. With that, Naruto shut off his alarm clock, since he wouldn't need it, and began his morning routine. After a breakfast of cup ramen, he set out for the academy. I don't think I've ever gotten here this early, Naruto thought as he entered the classroom. He was used to it being more crowded when he arrived, but right now the only occupants were Hinata, in the back, and Sasuke in the corner near the front. Seeing his partner for his after-class lessons, Naruto made his way up to Hinata to tell her what they would be doing. Hey, Hinata-chan, the energetic blonde exclaimed. He called me Hinata-chan, thought an elated Hyuga heiress. Ohio, Naruto-kun. Did your father tell you what we would be doing after class? Naruto asked the shy girl. Yes, but he did not say where to meet Ichiro-sensei. Hinata managed to get out as color rose in her cheeks. We have to go to training ground 7 after class, I can't wait, Naruto told his classmate. By this time the rest of the class had begun to enter the room, so the two decided to get ready for the lesson. When all the students arrived, Iruka and another man entered. This man had bluish-white, shoulder-length hair, had the same build as Iruka but had much paler skin. Class, today we have a new instructor joining us, this is Mizuki-sensei, got it memorized. Iruka told the curious students. Hello, as you now know, my name is Mizuki, I hope you find me to be as good of a teacher as Iruka-sensei, the now identified Mizuki greeted. While he did this, he scanned the room. When he spotted Naruto, his eyes hardened briefly, but Iruka managed to catch it. I was afraid of this, I better keep an eye on this one, Iruka thought. He then mentally sighed. I thought if I became a teacher I could escape the icky jobs. Great lesson today, Iruka-san, see you tomorrow, Mizuki said as he left the classroom. Yeah, you too, Mizuki-san, Iruka said. After he was certain Mizuki was gone, he collapsed into his chair. Anko-chan, you can come out now, Iruka said to the hidden snake mistress. And here I was hoping to surprise you, Anko said as she pouted. She then jokingly asked, since when do you need an assistant? That's what I was hoping you could tell me, I know you saw the whole lesson, Iruka said with a small smile. He then said, I know it's a fantasy of mine, but I don't think you should play hooky on the off chance an opportunity may present itself. We've been slow at T&I today, but I didn't come here so you could have some T&A, at least not while the Gakis are here, Anko said playfully. Getting serious, she then said, I actually came to stake out and warn you about Mizuki. I had a feeling that something was up. I remember Mizuki from when we were kids and he's always had this dark air about him. Well, yesterday he was suspended from active duty because he is under suspicion of murdering a fellow shinobi while on a mission, Anko said with a hint of worry in her voice. I'm not sure I understand, Iruka said. One of his teammate was injured and never made it back, but according to the other member of that squad the injuries were not fatal, but it made movement impossible for the now dead member of the squad, Enko explained. So the obvious course of action is to suspend the possible murderer and put him around children. That makes sense, Iruka said, his tone heavy with sarcasm and worry for his students. I don't like it either, but he told a sob story to the council and the civilians decided he had to take care of himself somehow while the investigation is carried out. It's not your fault this happened, Anko-chan, and I have a pretty good idea of why they put him here if his piss-poor attempts to help Naruto are any indication. Iruka said. He then continued, but two things don't make sense to me. Why would Hokage-sama allow this? And more than half of my students are from civilian families. Shouldn't the civilian council be more worried? The academy is kind of a gray area. You know better than I do that those enrolled or enjoyed dual status as civilians and ninja, at least to some degree, Anko explained. She then went on, the professor or not, Hokage-sama can only handle so much legalese, and the lawyers on the council know they can take advantage of that. They exploited every loophole they could to get Mizuki here. And I suppose someone told him the charges would disappear if he took care of Naruto. Iruka asked. It's purely speculation at this point, but I have no doubt that you're right, Iruka-kun, Anko said. Well, unfortunately Mizuki isn't dumb enough to do anything rash, so I can't get rid of him and I suppose the only evidence of wrongdoing is the conflicting mission reports. Iruka said, thinking out loud. That's right, Anko said. She then asked, what do you think he is trying to do? From what we both saw, I would say he is trying to sabotage Naruto and then he will probably try to offer private lessons, you know, away from witnesses, Iruka reasoned. He continued, fortunately, I made sure Naruto would remember the proper taijutsu form as well as how to throw kunai and shuriken. I know, you said, got it memorized. So often I was thinking of creating the Yumi no Iruka drinking game, Anko joked. Getting serious, she warned, just be careful, I think Mizuki is going for a long con. I don't doubt it, Iruka said. Then smirking he said, now, I think we have something else to discuss. Oh, whatever could you mean, Iruka-sensei? Anko asked, playing along. We need to discuss your actions during class, Mitarashi-san, and of course take the appropriate measures, Iruka said slyly. I'll do anything, sensei. Please don't tell my parents, Anko said continuing with Iruka's game. This is going to be fun, they both thought. At Training Ground 7, Naruto and Hinata found Ichiro waiting for them. Ah, Naruto-kun, Hinata-chan, I am glad to see that you made it, Ichiro greeted. I wouldn't miss it for anything, Ichiro-sensei, Naruto said. I am looking forward to this as well, Ichiro-sama, Hinata managed to get out. I am glad to hear that because we only have a few days before my colleagues and I must leave for Iron County, Ichiro said. You'll be back though, right? A visibly worried Naruto asked. I cannot say for certain, Naruto-kun, but our monastery is not far from Konoha. You are always welcome to visit, Ichiro answered sadly. He had grown so fond of the young blonde. I guess, was all Naruto could say. It will be all right, Naruto-kun, Hinata said in an attempt to console her crush. You're right, and I'll still have you, Hinata-chan, Naruto said with a smile. Right, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, fighting back the urge to faint. Now let us begin, Ichiro said, coming to Hinata's rescue. Hi, his young charges said while getting into the lotus position. Now remember, Mu training is a special form of meditative martial arts training. It involves the ability to ignore everything around you. If you can make your minds blank, you will succeed, Ichiro explained. Continuing, he said, I have told Hokage-sama what we will be doing, so you two should not have many interruptions. Hi, Sensei, the two academy students said. Now I have an errand to run. Begin once I leave and I should be back by the time you two are finished, assuming you two succeed, Ichiro said. He then took his leave to run his errand. The two meditated in silence for a few minutes, but soon the world around them seemed to grow louder. After a while the atmosphere of the training ground changed. If the two had opened their eyes they have seen Ko and Aruka appear from nowhere. Hinata-sama, your father is asking for you. You must stop your meditation at once and come with me, Ko said. Naruto, what do you say we head to Ichiraku's for some ramen, my treat, Aruka said. The two ninja in training ignored them as Ko and Aruka faded from existence. The atmosphere changed again. Two figures appeared before them, not that the two kids noticed. Had the two opened their eyes they would have seen two men. One was the Rakudo Sennin in his prime, the other was a man with Byakugan eyes. He was a tall man dressed in armor not unlike the Shadaimes. He had a long face with a broad chin and pronounced cheekbones, long black hair, which reached to his lower back, and thin eyebrows, well-kept mutton chops which connected with a mustache, but was otherwise clean-shaven. It was the founder of the Hyuga clan, Hyuga Hero. Uzumaki Naruto, the Rakudo Sennin began, although only Naruto could hear him. Hyuga Hinata, Hero started in a voice only Hinata could hear. I am the progenitor of your family line, the two apparitions continued. To complete your trial, I am going to break your legs. You will lose the use of them. Do you accept this? The two asked their respective descendants. Upon receiving no answer, the two broke the children's legs. Naruto and Hinata felt intense pain but kept meditating as though nothing had happened. So, you cannot walk as your legs are broken. Next, I will tear your arms off. Do you accept this? The apparitions asked the students. Once again no answer was given and pain exploded within the children's minds, but still they ignored the torture. The spirits continued, now I shall cut your ears off. You don't mind losing your hearing, do you? Do you accept this? Once more the two were ignored and once more they made good on their word, but Naruto and Hinata managed to keep meditating through it all. Now, Naruto, the Rakudo Sennin, started. Now, Hinata, Hero began. No legs, no arms, no sound, by floating words through the air, I must ask, do you care if I take your eyes? Do you want to live in eternal darkness? I shall steal your sight, do you accept this? The two asked, not that either child paid any attention to them. With that the two felt as if their eyes were destroyed. The spirits then continued directly into the children's respective minds. Now my child, I can only communicate directly with your mind. Your mind is all you have left. In the end I will take your mind too, but you probably don't want to allow that, do you? You cannot answer, can you? You cannot even move. Are you sad? Are you lonely? If you lose your mind you will also lose any feelings of sadness. Do you accept this? I will take your mind, child. Know that I will possess it. Naruto and Hinata persevered through even this as everything went blank. Without knowing how much time had passed, the two opened their eyes simultaneously, and they saw Ichiro. Congratulations, you two, you have passed your trial and should now understand the essence of Mu, the monk explained. That was intense, Ichiro-sensei, Naruto stated as he got up and went to help Hinata to her feet. It felt so real, Hinata added. That is why so few complete the training. The world around us creates illusion to prevent us from understanding Mu, and when that does not work it is as if nothing seeks to scare us off, Ichiro explained. He continued, I had no doubt in my mind you two could do it, though. Why is that, sensei? Hinata questioned. I just have a feeling that the two of you are very special children, Ichiro said simply. Changing the subject he said, Naruto-kun, your birthday is coming up, is it not? Yeah, but it's not like anyone celebrates it, Naruto said sadly. Well, I have something for you, consider it an early birthday present, Ichiro said as he handed Naruto a package. What is it? Naruto asked as he opened the package. Inside the package was a coat of an unusual design. It was black and white split down the middle, white on the right and black on the left. It was decorated on the bottom with a flame motif, blue flames on the black side and red flames on the white side. It also had long sleeves and a hood and one long zipper. Wow, this is the best present I've ever been given, Naruto said as he felt his eyes mist up. A present for the future Hokage and creator of the Mu release, Ichiro said. I'll make you proud, sensei, and I'll become someone worthy of this coat too. Naruto proclaimed as he took off his jacket and replaced it with his new coat. I think it looks good, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. I concur, you look quite dashing, Ichiro added. Thank you, both of you, Naruto said. At this point tears of happiness were streaming down his face as he hugged Ichiro and went to hug Hinata. Must not faint, Hinata thought as she returned Naruto's embrace. Oh, yeah, there's something I want to show both of you, Naruto said excitedly. With a bit of concentration, Naruto summoned his ethereal blades. Naruto-kun, what are those? Ichiro asked the question on both his and Hinata's minds. These are ethereal blades, blades of pure nothingness, Naruto explained proudly. I managed to use them last night but I couldn't hold them for long. I see. Well, now I know that I was right. You are a special child, Naruto-kun, Ichiro said. You're amazing, Naruto-kun, Hinata added. Thanks, sensei. Hinata-chan, said Naruto as he dismissed the blades. Well, it is almost time for dinner, and I cannot teach the two of you anything else at this point, so with that I dismiss you both and wish you a pleasant evening, Ichiro stated. Good night, sensei, his students said as they made their way back to the village proper. It is a shame I must leave at the end of the week. I am curious as to how they will progress, Ichiro thought as he made his way back to his lodgings. Oh well, I will be sure to come back as often as I can to see them, and with that though Ichiro met up with his fellow monks to discuss the day's events. It had been a few days since the monks departed from Konoha. Naruto may not have taken this development well, but he knew he had to power through it. Hinata had accepted that the monks had to leave better than Naruto, so she did her best to console her crush. The two now trained together regularly, with most of their time being devoted to development and incorporation of new techniques. Naruto had discovered that he could create invisible barriers in addition to using the ethereal blades, which he had decided to call interdiction. Hinata had helped him come up with that name after it was discovered that once someone was struck with one of the blades, their chakra network and nerve impulses were disrupted for a short time. After just a tap, Hinata could not use her arm or mold chakra for 5 minutes. Currently, the two were trying to increase the duration of the disruption and incorporate the effects into the Juken-style taijutsu. Trying being the operative word, as Naruto's thoughts were elsewhere. I need to tell her, but I'm scared, Naruto thought. For the past week, Naruto had attempted to tell Hinata about his status as a Jinchuriki. Unfortunately, one friend had left for Iron Country for an indeterminate amount of time, and Naruto was in no hurry to lose another. I don't see why you're worried. The elder monk took it pretty well, the Kyuubi pointed out. I guess, but he said Hokage Jiji told him beforehand, Naruto thought back. Ichiro had explained that he had asked the Hokage about Naruto's treatment within the village. S-class secret, Naruto thought indignantly. Indeed, shinobi villages are surprisingly bad at keeping secrets, Kyuubi observed. Continuing, he said, but your little mate over there deserves to know. I know, maybe it would be easier if she could meet you, Naruto thought. Remembering the other part of the QB's statement, he responded, and Hinata-chan isn't my mate, she isn't even my girlfriend. Maybe someday though, Naruto finished while trailing off at the end. What was that last part? QB asked, hoping to get a rise out of his Jinchuriki. Me getting my hopes up, Naruto lamented. I feel something for Hinata-chan, but I don't know what it is, no one has taught me about this stuff. At least you're not pining after the pink-haired girl, QB said, happy that Naruto was headed in the right direction. You should remember every bit of pain she caused you though, to hold over her head when the day comes that she needs your help, QB suggested. I can't. I need to be an adult about this, especially considering I lectured you about grudges, Naruto responded. Also, my memory isn't that good, Naruto admitted. I could remember for you, we are partners after all, QB suggested. I'll get back to you on that, right now I have something to do, Naruto responded, finally finding his resolve. Hinata-chan, there's something I need to tell you if we're going to stay training partners, Naruto said suddenly. What is it, Naruto-kun? Hinata asked worriedly. She hoped Naruto wasn't disappointed in her lack of progress. It's well, this would be so much easier if the two of you could meet. Naruto finally got out. What do you mean? Hinata questioned. I want to try something. Could you hold out your hands, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. Okay, Hinata said as Naruto reached out and grabbed her hands. I don't appreciate you showing me off to others, Naruto, Hinata heard in her head. Who is that? Hinata asked, surprise evident on her face and in her voice. That was the QB no Kitsune, Naruto said. I'm sorry, Hinata-chan, this was the only way to explain that I thought would make sense, Naruto apologized. I don't understand, Hinata admitted. You can just think, girl. I can hear your thoughts as long as you and your little boyfriend make physical contact, QB told the confused Kunoichi hopeful. Naruto is a Jinchuriki, a human with a biju sealed inside him. The people of this village can't tell the difference between a human child and a fox that is the size of a mountain, the fox went on. I'll handle the rest, thanks QB, Naruto said. The night of October 10th, 12 years ago, the QB was released from his previous Jinchuriki. The Yondaime, in order to save the village, re-sealed the QB inside of me, Naruto explained. That explains what Ko-san meant, Hinata thought. She then said, Oh Naruto-kun, I'm sorry your life has been so hard because of something you can't control. QB isn't the problem, not really, Naruto explained to his friend. I wish you could see my memories because there is a lot more to this story, and it would take a long time to explain, Naruto said. Me too, Hinata said. Just then something happened. Naruto-kun, you're disappearing, Hinata almost screamed. What? Naruto said, looking down at himself. It was true, his body had become transparent. What's going on? Naruto asked fearfully. Naruto-kun. Hinata yelled as she reached out to embrace Naruto as though it would stop what was happening. Unfortunately, she passed right through him. Ah! Both kids shouted in shock as both received a massive rush of memories that were not their own. Are you alright, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked, while wondering what it was that he saw. Yes, I'm fine, and you're solid again, Hinata responded. She then asked, Naruto-kun, was all of that real? Your father was the Yondaime. Wait, what else did you see? Naruto asked, hoping to confirm his suspicions. You talking to the QB, people glaring, something about a soul of ice to stop the pain, Hinata started to list. My memories, then that means, Naruto trailed off. He then said, Oh Hinata-chan, I'm sorry, I didn't know you had such a hard life. You saw my memories? Hinata asked, fearful that Naruto knew her secret. Yeah, I can't feel the emotions that go with them though, but that's probably for the best. I don't know if that would qualify as sensory overload, but it would definitely be too much to handle. Oh, Hinata said after letting out a sigh of relief. Also, I need to thank you. For what, Naruto-kun? For always being there, even when I didn't know it. You're welcome, Naruto-kun. I'll always be there to support you. Thank you, Hinata-chan, but I'm afraid I have to ask to invade your privacy again. You want to try to perfect that technique. You understand me so well, Hinata-chan. Yes, it could be useful to gather intel, among other things, but not if my opponent sees my memories. Other things, fears, weaknesses, things of that nature. Don't worry, my lips are sealed. Alright, I trust you, Naruto-kun. Thank you, Hinata-chan, but first I need to know how I did it. What was on your mind before you turned transparent? I thought it would help everything make sense if you could see my memories. Is that all? I wanted to know more about you but was afraid to pry. That explains the memories but not the transparency. Let me try something. With that, Naruto started to focus and soon he started to fade. Naruto-kun, you're doing it, but how? Hinata asked her crush. The first time I think I wished I was more transparent, thinking it would be easier to tell you about Kyuubi. Apparently my body and my chakra took it literally. With that in mind I tried to do it consciously, Naruto explained. He then asked, shall we? Ready when you are, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. Don't worry, I'll try not to dive too deeply into your memories, Naruto said. With that, the two tried until sunset to perfect Naruto's new technique. They managed to succeed on the fourth try with when Hinata admitted she was no longer seeing any of Naruto's memories. Thanks, Hinata-chan, Naruto said when it was over. You're very welcome, Naruto-kun, Hinata responded. Now I need find a way to use this transparency thing in combat, but one thing at a time, Naruto said. Yes, it is getting late and I need to get home for dinner, Hinata added. Let me walk you home, Hinata-chan. You don't have to do that, Naruto-kun. I know, but I want to. With that the two set off towards the Hyuga compound. There was, however, something else Naruto wanted to talk about. Hinata-chan, he asked. I've been thinking a lot and I know that we've only gotten close just recently, but, Naruto trailed off. What? Hinata asked in her mind. I don't have much experience with these kinds of things, like reading emotions, but lately I've been wondering if you wanted and I wanted. What I'm asking is, do you think we could ever be more than friends? Thump. Naruto turned his head and noted that Hinata had fainted. You know, what, you're right, we have time, we can always talk about this later, Naruto said as he chuckled at his own joke. Picking her up bridal style, Naruto carried Hinata the rest of the way to the Hyuga compound. Uzumaki, Naruto here to drop off Hyuga Hinata, Naruto said to the nearest Hyuga he could find, who just so happened to be a little girl. You have 5 seconds to explain why my Nei-chan is unconscious before I get my father after you, the little girl said. She fainted. That's all, I swear, Naruto hastily defended. Perusing the information he got from Hinata's memories, he then asked, "Your name is Hanabi, right?" "So what if I am, and how do you even know that?" The now identified Hanabi asked. "Hinata and I talk. We've been training together for a while now," Naruto said, hoping he came up with an acceptable cover. Attempting to be more convincing, or to change the subject, he didn't care which, he said, "I can tell just by the way she talks about you that she loves you very much." "Too much," Hanabi whispered, thinking of all the times she and Hinata sparred. Hanabi was young, but she was not naive. She knew that Hinata let her emotions prevent her from excelling. "What?" Naruto asked. "Nothing," Hanabi quickly answered. She then asked a question of your own. "You said your name is Uzumaki, Naruto?" "Yes," Naruto asked, trying to coax more out of the little Hyuga. Nei-chan said something about you creating the Mu release, Hanabi stated simply. Yeah, but I'm still just getting started, Naruto admitted. Hanabi, is there any sign of your sister? A familiar voice asked. Yes, Otu-sama, Uzumaki-san has her, Hanabi told the slowly approaching Hyuga Hiyashi. Did something happen? Hiyashi said darkly, promising pain if the answer was not one he wanted to hear. She just fainted, Hyuga-sama, but she'll be fine, she wasn't injured, Naruto said as fast as he could. He knew he could use his barrier, but if he wanted to see if there was anything between Hinata and himself, he would need Hiyashi to like him. I see, I will take her, Uzumaki-san, and I thank you for bringing her home, Hiyashi said. I trust you two had a productive day off from class? Hiyashi asked. We hit a bit of a snag in the beginning, but we got past that, Naruto explained. I see. Well, I bid you good evening, Uzumaki-san, Hiyashi said. Good night, Hyuga-sama, Hanabi-chan, Naruto said. Good night, Uzumaki-san, Hanabi said. With that, Naruto made his way home to get ready for class tomorrow. What time is it? Naruto thought as he looked at his clock. 4 a.m. Great, another early morning, he mentally grumbled as he turned off his alarm. Now, Naruto knew that ninja were often required to work off little to no sleep, but he wanted to enjoy his current schedule as much as possible. Waking up before sunrise had become a regular occurrence, however, and while he functioned normally, it had become quite irritating. May as well squeeze some training in, Kyuubi suggested. Alright, let's do this, Naruto said as he got up to do his morning routine. After 15 minutes, he locked up and set out for one of the training grounds. As Naruto made his way through the village, his thoughts turned to what he said to Hinata last night. I hope things don't get awkward between us, at least Hinata-chan isn't the kind of girl to end a friendship over something like that. He was soon pulled from his thoughts by two loud voices. Lee, this morning we are going to focus on your form until Neji and Tenten get here. A loud voice stated. Hi, Guy-sensei, if I cannot perfect the Goken before this morning is up, I will run 500 laps around the village. A younger, but equally loud voice responded. What the hell? Naruto thought as he made his way toward the voices. He reached an unfamiliar training ground with two occupants, and it was no exaggeration that they were two of the strangest people Naruto had ever seen. Both had bowl cuts, wore full-body green spandex suits, orange leg warmers, wore Konoha Hitai around their waists, and strangest of all, both had extremely thick eyebrows. Lee, it seems we have company, the one called Guy told his student. The flames of youth must have called out to him, Guy-sensei, the one named Lee mused. Ohio, Naruto greeted, hoping the master and student duo were friendly. Greetings, youthful visitor, I am Maida Guy and this is my youthful student Rock Lee, Guy said. Good morning, I am always happy to meet those who wish to make the most of their springtime of youth, Lee greeted. I'm Uzumaki Naruto and I'm sorry if I interrupted anything, I was just looking for a place to train and was surprised that anyone else besides the Anbu were up this early, Naruto said. We always begin training this early, it's important to enjoy your youth, Guy explained. I'm not sure I understand, but did you say that your name was Maida Guy? Naruto asked. Yes indeed, Guy answered. The taijutsu expert of Konoha. You're him? Naruto asked. I've never claimed to be an expert, but I'm the only Maida Guy that I know of, Guy replied humbly. Guy-sensei is just being modest. I doubt there is anything about taijutsu he does not know. Lee proclaimed. Lee, your praise has stoked my flames of youth, but I would never claim to know everything about taijutsu, Guy corrected his student. Turning to the young blonde, he asked, why do you want to know, young Naruto? I was wondering if you could help me with something. Naruto asked. He then added, I'm sure you are very busy with your own students, but I need some advice about taijutsu and weapons. While it is true that I have a responsibility to my team, I am always willing to help those in need. What is it that you would like to know? Guy asked the blonde. Naruto then explained his Mu release to Guy and Lee, from what Ichiro taught him, to the ethereal blades, to his search for a compatible taijutsu style. All I know is that I can use them as blades and for bludgeoning, but I just know enough about taijutsu to know that they won't work with the academy style, Naruto finished. Maybe if I could see these ethereal blades, as you call them, Guy suggested. I would like to see them as well, Lee added. All right, Naruto said as he summoned his blades. I call them interdiction, because they disrupt a person's chakra network and nerve impulses. Fascinating, but I don't see an edge on these. How would they cut anything? Guy asked. I can make them vibrate at almost any speed. Listen, Naruto explained as the blades started to hum at different frequencies. Vibrate. Yes, that could work, Guy said, more to himself than Naruto. What could work, sensei? Lee asked. Snake style. Lee, our youthful friend should use snake style, Guy answered his student. Snake style, Guy sensei? Naruto questioned. Snake style is based on whipping or rattling power which travels up the spine to the fingers, or in the case of the rattler, the body shake which travels down the spine to the tip of the tailbone. The ability to sinuously move, essentially by compressing one's stomach, abdominal muscles, is very important. Footing is quite grounded. The stance work is fluid in order to maximize the whipping potential of any movement. This necessitates building a strong spine to contain the power and strong fingers to convey the strike. Since breath is important to any movement of the spine and ribs, snake style is considered one of the main styles which eventually led to internal training. Snake style is also known as an approach to weapons training. There are even specialty varieties of sword blades and spear points that curve back and forth down the length of the blade in imitation of the snake's body, known as snake sword and snake spear. It's a style that focuses on attacking weak points like joints and the throat among other places, Guy explained. Guy continued, saying, in this village there have only been 2 people who have practiced this style. Who are they? Naruto asked. The snake Sanin Orochimaru and Mitarashi Anko, Guy answered. Well, Orochimaru is out, but I think I know who Mitarashi Anko is, Naruto said. Yes, I believe that she is involved with Yumino Iruka, Guy explained. Iruka sensei. That helps. I guess it wouldn't hurt to ask to meet her, Naruto said. Then Naruto turned to the 2 and said, thank you very much. You are very welcome, Naruto, Guy replied. I don't mean to impose, but would it be alright if I trained with you both before class starts? Naruto asked, hoping the 2 would let him stay. I don't mind if Guy sensei says it is alright, Lee answered. Those who embrace hard work are always welcome to join us, Guy responded. 2 hours later, Naruto was thanking any and all higher powers that he could create barriers and make himself intangible. Lee hit hard and he hit fast. That is not to say that Naruto blocked everything. Knowing nothing about Lee's speed left him vulnerable in the beginning. With all the respect that's due, you guys are insane. I am so glad we're on the same side, Naruto said. I thank you, Naruto-kun. Now one last time, Konoha Reppu, Lee said as he charged his new sparring partner. Oh shit. Naruto though as he jumped to avoid Lee's sweeping kick. He clenched his eyes shut, anticipating the impact of Lee's follow-up attack, but it never came. Upon opening his eyes he noticed that he didn't return to the ground either. All he saw was himself standing in midair with Guy and Lee staring at him. I think I'm standing on one of my barriers. I never thought to try that before. He chuckled as dismissed the barrier and dropped back down. How did you do that, Naruto-kun? Lee asked. I just wanted to avoid your attack. I guess I put up a Mew barrier without realizing it, Naruto said. In order to test this theory, he did another jump and landed on another barrier. Okay, I can work with this. I wonder what else I can do with these barriers. Naruto wondered out loud. You'll have to find out later, Naruto. You have to get to class, Guy informed the young man. Oh yeah, thanks for everything, Guy sensei. You too, Lee, Naruto said as he dropped down and made his way to leave the training ground. Feel free to come back anytime, Naruto, Guy said. Yes, I want to see more of your Mew release, Lee said. As Naruto left Guy's other students, Tenten and Hyuga Neji arrived at the training ground for the day's tasks. Tenten was a girl with brown hair and steel gray eyes, and Neji was a Hyuga with long brown hair. The two found it odd that Lee and Guy were not training but were staring in the direction of the ninja academy. Tenten was the first to voice her confusion. Is everything alright, sensei? She asked. Yes indeed, my youthful student. Just Lee and I have just made a new friend, Guy explained. I hope he trains with us again, sensei, Lee said. As do I, Lee, but I don't think that will be for some time, Guy told his student. Who are you talking about? Neji asked, curiosity getting the better of him. Uzumaki Naruto. I think we'll be hearing a lot about him in the future, Guy said. As Naruto made his way to the academy, his thoughts turned to how he would ask Iruka if he could meet the man's girlfriend. That's going to be awkward. Hey sensei, I heard you were dating someone named Mitarashi Anko, can I meet her? I feel stupid just thinking about it. He was so immersed in his thoughts that he didn't notice someone in front of him until he bumped into them. Naruto, you should really watch where you're going, a familiar voice said. Sensei, is that you? Naruto asked, just now noticing who it was he bumped into. Naruto, remember, a ninja must always be aware of their surroundings, got it memorized. Iruka lectured. Sorry sensei, I just have something on my mind, Naruto told his teacher. Anything I can help with? The scarred Chunin asked. It's kind of awkward, but I was told you're dating a woman named Mitarashi Anko. It was more of a question than a statement. I am, Iruka confirmed. Well, it's just I met Meta Guy and asked him about taijutsu. He recommended that I study snake style and he said Anko-san practiced it, Naruto told his instructor. She does indeed, but she won't teach just anybody, if she'll even teach it, Iruka warned. What exactly do you mean? Naruto asked. When Anko-chan isn't on missions, she works in the torture and interrogations unit, but her being busy isn't the only problem, Iruka said. He then continued, she's never really expressed any desire to teach, or at least she never mentioned it to me. Does this have to do with Orochimaru? Naruto asked. I don't try to psychoanalyze people, Naruto, especially if I'm dating them, Iruka said. He then added, if you want to learn snake style you should ask her yourself, she usually stops by after class. Sensei, children use that room almost daily. Naruto said in mock outrage. Not for that, usually, Iruka said, whispering the last part. Well, it can't hurt to ask, Naruto said. No it couldn't, now you go on ahead, I have something to take care of, Iruka told his student. Okay. See you in class sensei, Naruto said. As soon as his favorite student was out of sight, Iruka asked, I take it you heard all of that? Most of it. I thank you for not making promises for me, Anko said. As it turned out, the whole conversation occurred in front of Anko's favorite dango shop. I know better than to do that, Iruka said. He went on to ask, so what do you think? I think I want to see what he can do first. Alright, I think I can arrange that. Oh, yeah, today looks like a perfect day for practical exams, wouldn't you say? Oh, Iruka-kun, I love the way you think, Anko said as she and Iruka made their way towards the academy, but not before they heard a voice shout. Oi, Iruka-sensei, Anko-san, stop making out and hurry up. Naruto entered the classroom to find that he was the last one there, aside from Iruka. Most of the students checked to see if their sensei had arrived, but when they saw that it was Naruto they went back to whatever it was that they were doing. Or they would have, except for one thing. Naruto, where did you get that? Asked the ever fashion-conscious Yamanaka Ino, noticing Naruto's new look. What is she talking about? Naruto asked. It was then he remembered that he was wearing the coat Ichiro got him. Naruto had decided that if it was a birthday present, then he shouldn't wear it until after his birthday. Naruto had been afraid this would upset the monk, but Ichiro had just found it adorable. Ichiro attributed Naruto's decision to his status as a Jinchuriki. He figured that Naruto believed birthday presents were just shy of sacred and the man couldn't have been more correct. It was a gift, isn't it awesome? Naruto asked, his voice full of pride at finally being able to show off his new coat. If you're trying to look cool you should just stop, Sakura told the boy. You'll never be as cool as Sasuke-kun. I do like the split down the middle motif, Sakura and her inner self thought. I don't have to try, this coat is cool, Naruto shot back. It looks okay, Ino said, but the blush on her cheeks betrayed her real thoughts. I guess Hinata has a point, he is kind of cute. Whatever, I love this coat, Naruto said as he took his seat beside Hinata. He turned to his friend and said, Hinata-chan, I don't think I'll be able to train with you after class. I need to talk to sensei's girlfriend about a taijutsu style to go with my ethereal blades. That's alright Naruto-kun, Hinata said, a bit sad that she couldn't train with her crush. Gathering her courage, the young heiress asked, Naruto-kun, about what you said. I think we should talk about that somewhere more private, Naruto said, cutting her off. He went on to say, but don't worry, we'll talk as soon as possible. I probably need to talk to your father too, right? Hi, Hinata answered, no longer worried that Naruto didn't like her. She was of course still worried about what her father would say, but she had a feeling that things would work out. Alright class, since it is so nice out today I think we should have a practical exam outside, Iruka told his class, as he and Mizuki entered the room. Knowing nothing of his ulterior motive, his students filed out of the room and headed for the academy training ground. Let's start off simple. Line up for target practice, Iruka ordered. Same as always, 10 shuriken, 10 kunai, Naruto, why don't you start? Get your equipment from Mizuki-sensei, Iruka explained, all the while thinking, let's see what Mizuki has planned today. Naruto got his supplies, but after he had done so he stared at them, prompting Iruka to ask, something wrong Naruto? I don't mean to be picky sensei, but I can't use these, the kunai are dull and the shuriken look like they were bent and then bent back, Naruto told Iruka. Let me see, Iruka said. Upon inspecting the ninja tools he saw that Naruto was absolutely right. Now that's just insulting, Iruka thought. Turning to Mizuki he said, Mizuki-sensei, I like a good joke as much as the next person, but I have a hard enough time getting these kids to take the lesson seriously as it is. Just a little harmless fun, Iruka-sensei, Mizuki said in his defense, although on the inside he was seething. Stupid demon isn't supposed to be perceptive, he thought. Let's try this again, and this time no games, Iruka said in an unusually stern tone. I need to head to the equipment shed, Iruka-sensei. We're one set short now that we can't use those, Mizuki said, hoping to buy himself time to come up with another plan. It's alright sensei. I think I have an idea, I just need to try some things first, Naruto said. What do you mean Naruto? Iruka asked. An idea just popped into my head, I just need to test it, Naruto said. With that he summoned interdiction and pointed his right arm towards a target. With a little bit of focus, Naruto was able to fire an ethereal blade as another took its place on his right hand. Okay, Naruto said, clearly pleased with the result. Now if I can change the shape, I'll be golden. With a little concentration, Naruto changed his ethereal blades into a kunai on his left and a shuriken on his right. With that he fired 10 of each, all of which hit the bull's eye. Upon dismissing his ethereal blades, the kunai and shuriken disappeared with them. The class, sans Hinata, just stared at him, most in shock, one in anger, and one in jealousy. All of them were thinking, what was that? The class was shaken from its collective stupor when Naruto asked, Sensei, do I get docked points or do I fail? Because I didn't throw any of those, I shot them. I'll give you full credit for sheer resourcefulness, Naruto, and they did hit the mark, but what were they? Iruka asked. Remember what I said 2 weeks ago? Naruto asked. About what? Iruka asked. Nothing. Naruto answered. Naruto, you should. Wait, you mean Mew? Iruka asked, after remembering his chakra lecture. Yeah, those were my ethereal blades, blades made of nothing, Naruto said proudly. What else you do? Iruka asked. Not much, just make barriers, Naruto said. Well, keep at it. I'm proud of you, Naruto, Iruka said. Thank you so much, Sensei. Naruto choked out as he held back tears of joy. Alright, next up Uchiha Sasuke, Iruka called out. Sasuke stepped forward to take his turn, but his mind was still on what had just transpired. I need to know how the Dobi did that. No one could stop me with that power, not even him. Even though he was distracted, Sasuke was able to get a perfect score and was treated to accolades courtesy of his Rah-Rah squad, not that he cared. Most of the other students did as well as could be expected, until Hinata's name was called. Hyuga Hinata, Iruka called out. Hi sensei, Hinata responded. You'll do great, Hinata-chan, Naruto encouraged as Hinata made her way past him. Naruto-kun, thank you, Hinata thought when she heard that. Hi, she said with confidence that only Naruto seemed to give her. Hinata grabbed the tools provided and got a perfect score just as Naruto and Sasuke had done. Then, feeling daring, she attempted to form an ethereal weapon of her own, a Senbon needle between her index and middle finger, and shot it, just as Naruto had done with his kunai and shuriken. The reaction to this was the same as it had been with Naruto's display. I told you that you were awesome, Hinata-chan, Naruto said to his friend. After recovering, Iruka congratulated the young Kunoichi hopeful. That was excellent, Hinata. Seeing that no one was left, Iruka said, Alright class, we'll take a break and then some sparring matches, you have 1 hour, dismissed. Hinata-chan, I've got something to show you, Naruto said as soon as the break began. What is it, Naruto-kun? The young girl asked. Let's eat first and then I'll show you, Naruto told her. Hinata was curious, but lunch sounded more appealing than a surprise of any kind at the moment. The two sat next to each other eating in silence until a voice said, Dobi, what was that you did during target practice? It was Uchiha Sasuke. Naruto ignored him and just continued eating as though it were still just Hinata and himself. Naruto Baka, Sasuke-kun asked you a question, Haruno Sakura informed the blonde. Naruto ignored his former crush as well. By this time, Sasuke's entire fan club decided to demand some form of response from Naruto and received none. This went on until both Naruto and Hinata had finished lunch, by which time Hinata said, Naruto-kun, I think you should answer them. I don't know, Hinata-chan, if they can't ask nicely they can't want an answer that bad, right? Naruto asked companion. I suppose. Now what did you want to show me? Hinata asked. Watch. With that, Naruto gave a small hop and just seemed to stand in midair. What is it? Hinata asked. This morning too a Jonin named made a guy and one of his students, Rock Lee, let me train with them. I got to spar with Lee, something I don't think I'll be doing again for a while, but I jumped to avoid one of his sweep kicks and found out I can create a barrier under me. Try it. Just think that you want to stay in the air. That's how I did it, Naruto said, finishing his explanation. Hinata did try. So did some other members of the class for that matter, but only Hinata succeeded in copying Naruto. I did it, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, obviously pleased with herself. I never doubted you for a second, Hinata-chan, Naruto said, ignoring collective grumbling of the peanut gallery. Deciding to be funny, a random student tried to push Naruto, hoping he would fall on his face. Much to his chagrin, Naruto just seemed to slide through the air. As he came to a stop, inspiration struck Naruto. I never would have thought of that, thank you. What's your name again? Kenji, the now identified student asked. Thank you, said Naruto, letting Kenji know he did not appreciate what it was Kenji tried to do. Turning to Hinata, Naruto said, Hinata-chan, I think we can control the amount of friction between our feet and the barrier. As if to prove his theory, Naruto began to skate in midair. Hinata-chan, you have to try this, just will the barrier to be smooth like ice. Hinata tried to do exactly as Naruto had said, and with grace only practitioners of the Juken seemed to have. Hinata began to skate. Fun, huh? Naruto said as he caught up to Hinata, who simply nodded. Okay. Couples skate is over, line up, came Iruka's voice. The class lined up as Naruto and Hinata struggled to get their blushes under control. Once that was accomplished, Iruka figured he would remind his students of the rules. When I call your name, step forward. These are strictly taijutsu matches. I see a hand sign or a weapon, you are disqualified. Same goes for leaving the ring. First up, Uchiha Sasuke and Uzumaki Naruto. Sasuke interrupted. Sasuke, don't forget, number one in the class or not, I am still the instructor, Iruka reprimanded. Ah, come on, Iruka, let the boys fight, Mizuki said. Sensei, maybe I should just fight Sasuke, it will be less of a headache later on, Naruto added. Alright, but this is the only time that I will allow this, Iruka said. Let him use those weapons of his too, I think he could use a handicap, Sasuke said smugly. No weapons, Sasuke, remember, Naruto said, appearing to clap Sasuke on the shoulder, but if anyone had been paying attention they would have seen Naruto's hand turn transparent, and sink slightly into Sasuke's shoulder before being pulled away. Thanks for the info, Sasuke, I'll put it to good use, Naruto thought. While that was going on, memories Sasuke, though he buried long ago, came flooding back as a result of what Naruto had done, although he didn't know that. Now is no time to think about the past, I need to put the Dobi in his place, Sasuke thought, taking his position. Opponents, make the seal of confrontation, Iruka ordered. Both Naruto and Sasuke raised a hand and made a half-ram sign. Hajime, Iruka said. Thanks to Naruto's new knowledge he was able to dodge just about everything Sasuke threw at him. And what he didn't block he managed to parry, which infuriated Sasuke to no end. How are you doing this? Sasuke half asked, half demanded. I spent an hour and a half this morning sparring with a genin that uses Goken and looks like a green blur when he moves. If I couldn't keep track of his movements I would probably still be unconscious, Naruto explained. That much was true. 20 minutes into his spar with Lee, Naruto was able to follow his movements. A minute later, Naruto said, I can't keep this up, I forfeit. This stunned the whole class. Naruto never gave up no matter how badly he was getting beaten. Why? Sasuke asked angrily. He hadn't landed a single hit on Naruto and thought that the blonde was mocking him. I think I might have cheated, Naruto said. How do you not know if you cheated? Sasuke asked, positively seething at this point. Naruto held up his hand, turned it transparent, and started to explain, "This is another technique I came up with. When my body, or even a part of it, is transparent and passes through someone, I can see all of their memories. I know about every technique you've ever learned, and the tells in your taijutsu style. When I clapped you on the shoulder, I looked through your memories, and although the match hadn't started, and even if I could beat you now, it would leave a bad taste in my mouth. I thank you for the lesson though, Sasuke." "What lesson?" Sasuke asked, angry that Naruto had invaded his memories and that said blonde used the knowledge to make him look foolish. "Just because I know what you can do doesn't mean I can win. I lack the skills and strength necessary for that right now," Naruto said. As an afterthought, Naruto added, "Maybe if I had my ethereal blades." Well, the match hadn't started, so technically it wasn't cheating, Iruka mused. He then continued, "Winner by forfeit, Uchiha Sasuke, now make the seal of reconciliation, you two." Naruto made his way to Sasuke and extended his index and middle finger, and Sasuke begrudgingly did the same. "This isn't over," Sasuke thought. "Okay, next up," Iruka continued. "I hope I didn't let you down, Hinata-chan," Naruto said. "Naruto-kun, you could never let me down," Hinata said as if it were a fundamental truth. "Alright everyone, that's enough for today, dismissed," Iruka told his class, who had returned to the classroom after the final match of the day. Everyone had filed out until Iruka, Mizuki, Naruto, and Hinata were left. "You can head home, Mizuki. I need to speak with these two," Iruka told his not-so-helpful assistant. "Alright, see you tomorrow," Mizuki said. And just like that he was gone. "So what do you think?" Iruka asked. "I think Mizuki will make some inmate an excellent girlfriend one day," came Anko's voice in response. "Agreed, but what I was talking about Naruto," Iruka said. "If he's still up for it, I'll teach him," Anko said. "Just like that," Naruto asked. "Your integrity won me over, Gaki, so what do you say?" Anko asked. "I say, nice to meet you, Anko-sensei," Naruto responded. "Okay. Now what about her?" Anko said, pointing to Hinata. "Anko-sensei, Hinata and I developed new techniques together. I know it may be a deal breaker, but I'm afraid I have to ask if Hinata could train with us," Naruto answered, afraid of what Anko would say. "Sure. I think I could teach her a few things," Anko said. "Thank you anyway, Ank." "Wait, really?" Naruto asked. "I said yes, didn't I?" Anko asked the boy. "Thank you very much, Anko-sensei," Hinata said. "It's no problem. I think it's sweet that your boyfriend over there can't train without you," Anko explained. "Well, that's not entirely true, sensei," Naruto mumbled. Hinata was just in shock. Girlfriend was the last thought on her mind when she passed out. "I think I'm going to have lots of fun with you too," Anko said to her only conscious new student. Anko, Iruka, Naruto, and Hinata made their way to the training grounds as soon as they left the academy. When asked why he was tagging along, Iruka said that it was out of concern for his students and that he never gets to visit Anko at work. "You two aren't going to flirt the whole time, are you?" Naruto asked as soon as he heard the second reason. "Naruto, I am offended that you would even suggest that I can't be professional outside of class," Iruka told his student in mock outrage. "If you didn't catch that, he means yes, Gaki," Anko said. "I do mean yes, but I also worry that you two will have a hard time keeping up with Anko-chan. She's a Tokubetsu Jonin for a reason, got it memorized?" Iruka said to his students. "Yep. I didn't get this far on looks alone, Gaki," Anko added, clearly proud of her rank. "You are very beautiful though, Anko-sensei," Hinata squeaked out, reminding the others that she was still there. "Iruka-kun, she can blow of the rest of the year and still pass, got it?" Anko said, semi-seriously. Of course, my hubby Heim, Aruka said, playing along. Well, here seems to as good a place as any, Anko said, coming to a stop. The quartet had arrived at Training Ground 7. What now, Anko-sensei? Naruto asked. Now I want you to show me what you can do with Mew, Anko said. Everything I can do? Naruto questioned. That's what I said, Gaki, Anko said impatiently. Remember, Anko-chan? No taking that back later, Aruka warned. Okay, I'll try not to see too much, sensei, Naruto said as he started to turn transparent. What do you both, Maya? Anko started to say as Naruto rushed right through her. Memories both old and recent started to swim around her head afterwards. What was that? She asked, slightly shaken. It's one of my techniques. I can turn transparent, and if a part of my body passes through someone, I can see their memories. With it, I can learn about a person's strengths, weaknesses, dreams, and fears, among other things, Naruto said. He continued, I don't have to look at their memories if I don't want to, but you did say show you everything I could do. I'm sorry for invading your privacy, sensei. It's fine, I guess I did say show me everything, just don't go blabbing my secrets around the village, Anko said. She did hear Naruto's explanation of this ability at the academy, but she still had her doubts. Okay. Next are my barriers, I need someone to attack me, Naruto said. With that, a kunai came at him courtesy of Anko, but stopped about a foot in front of him. I think, given time, I could make a barrier that surrounds me completely, but right now I can only make a barrier on one side. I can also stand on them in midair and control the amount of friction between my feet and the barrier, Naruto explained. I know, you and Hina-chan over there were adorable, by the way, Anko said, teased. Moving on, I'll show you my ethereal blades, Naruto said, trying to control his blush and summon his weapons. Interdiction extended out from both of his palms and he continued his explanation. I can change their shape and even shoot them at targets. When they hit people, they disrupt their nerve impulses and chakra. As if to prove a point, Naruto changed his blades into kunai and shuriken and shot them at a training post. Interesting. Now why do you want to learn snake style? Anko questioned. This morning I ran into Maida Guy. I wanted his opinion on a taijutsu style that would work with my blades. He mentioned snake style after I told him about how I can use my blades to bludgeon as well as cut, Naruto started to explain. When I mentioned that I cut with vibrations as opposed to sharp edges, he said snake style would be perfect, Naruto finished. I'm still not sure I follow Gaki, Anko said. Well, sensei, he mentioned the whipping movements used in the style. Honestly, sweeping and whipping motions feel natural with these weapons, Naruto said. I suppose that's a good enough reason. Both of you meet me here tomorrow morning at 5, Anko said. We're not starting today, sensei? Naruto questioned. It's getting late and I need to get some things for tomorrow, Anko said. She then continued, also, Kurenai-chan wants a girls' night out tonight. I'll see you later though, Aruka-kun. See you tonight, Anko-chan. Have fun, Aruka said. See you tomorrow morning, Anko-sensei, Naruto said. Have a nice night, Anko-sensei, Hinata added. See you tomorrow, Gakis, and don't worry, Hina-chan, I have plans for you too, just no taijutsu, I'm afraid, Anko said, addressing Hinata's concerns. Why, sensei? The young girl asked. As fun as annoying the Hyuga elders sounds, I don't think it's wise, Yane, Anko said as she went off to get ready for tomorrow and then meet her friends. I guess I should go too, Aruka said. Aruka-sensei, Anko-sensei's birthday is next week, right? Naruto asked, before Aruka could leave. Don't remind me, I still don't know what to get her, Aruka said. She likes performing tea ceremonies, right? Naruto asked, after skimming Anko's memories. Yes, But I got her a tea set last year, Iruka said. I was asking about a gift from me, Naruto said, wondering if he should divulge what he learned to Iruka. Great, but what should I get her? Iruka asked. No one in particular. Silver band with a diamond, Naruto said, reaching a conclusion. What? Iruka asked. She wants a diamond engagement ring with a silver band, you know, if you want to ask her to marry you, Naruto asked. I was planning to do just that after the school year was over, Iruka said. Continuing, he said, but I don't think I can wait anymore. I'll do it, thanks Naruto. You're welcome, but it feels like I betrayed Anko-sensei's trust by telling you that, Naruto said. Somehow, I don't think she'll mind, Naruto-kun, Hinata said. But even if she does, I think she will forgive you, Hinata continued. I hope so, Naruto said. Kurenai-san said that after Orochimaru left the village, Anko-sensei was lonely for a long time, Hinata started to explain. I don't think Anko-sensei ever met her parents and many people feared that she was an Orochimaru sleeper cell, Hinata finished. That's how Anko-chan and I met, Iruka said. My parents died in the Kyuubi attack a year prior. I don't think Anko-chan knew what her sensei was doing, but she disappeared with him, and was gone for months. She needed someone and I did too, but she had trouble trusting others afterwards. That makes me feel worse, sensei, Naruto told Iruka. It shouldn't, Naruto, Iruka said. He went on, yes, I should have come up with a gift idea on my own, but you did what you did because you care, right? Yes, of course, Naruto said. Then it's fine, but if it makes you feel better, we'll tell her after I give her the ring, alright? Iruka asked. Thank you, sensei, Naruto said. No problem, see you both tomorrow, Iruka said, and with that he was gone. Now that it was just the two of them, Naruto turned to Hinata and said, Hinata-chan, let's talk on the way back to the Hyuga compound. Alright, Naruto-kun, Hinata said, walking alongside the blonde. Hinata-chan, about what I said last night, I want you to know I meant it, Naruto said. Naruto-kun, you made me so happy when you said that, Hinata admitted. Hinata-chan, you have no idea how relieved I am to hear that. I was afraid I screwed up one of the best things that ever happened to me, Naruto explained. Naruto-kun, you saw my memories, so you know that I've been watching you for a long time. I've always admired you, Hinata said to her crush. Yes, I know. I don't know much about any kind of relationship, but I've seen how happy Iruka-sensei and Anko-sensei are, and I want that too. And I know I might sound selfish, but lately I've been thinking that I can't be happy without you, Naruto said. If you're selfish, so am I. When you had a crush on Sakura, I told myself as long as you were happy it was okay, but I knew I didn't mean it, Hinata said. Hinata-chan, I'm sorry that I hurt you, Naruto said. He continued, I'm sorry about this too, but maybe we should wait until after graduation to talk to your father. It's no problem, Naruto-kun, I was actually going to suggest that, Hinata said. Well, here we are, Naruto said. Feeling daring, he kissed Hinata on the cheek and said, see you tomorrow, Hinata-chan. Hinata touched the cheek that Naruto had kissed and said, see you tomorrow, Naruto-kun. And with that she made her way inside her clan's compound. The next day Naruto arrived outside of the Hyuga compound a half-hour before he and Hinata were supposed to meet Anko for training. He didn't have to wait long. Hinata, who was apparently just as eager as him, was already waiting. Ohayo, Naruto-kun, she greeted. Ohayo, Hinata-chan, he responded. As they started walking, Naruto was acting unusually fidgety, which had Hinata worried. What's wrong, Naruto-kun? She asked. Remember yesterday when I asked Iruka-sensei about a birthday present for Anko-sensei? Naruto reminded her. Yes, Hinata said, urging him to go on. Well, I know next to nothing about tea sets, and even if I did, I'm almost positive I wouldn't be allowed to buy one, Naruto explained. He went on to ask, I feel bad about asking, but if I gave you the money, could you buy one? Naruto-kun, I'll pay for half of it. Don't forget Anko-sensei is helping me too, Hinata stated, leaving no room for argument. Yes dear, Naruto said jokingly. Already whipped. You work fast, Hinata, came a smooth feminine voice. Kurenai-san, Hinata exclaimed, red in the face from the previous comment. The now identified Yuahi Kurenai revealed herself to the two academy students. Kurenai was a newly promoted Jonin Kunoichi. She was a woman with piercing red eyes, light skin, and dark hair in a Farrah Fawcett style. Kurenai had been assigned to look after Hinata as a chunin at the behest of Hyuga Hiyashi and had been looking out for the girl ever since. I'm just joking, Hinata, but you two do look cute together, Kurenai said, while still chuckling at her own joke. She then turned to Naruto to introduce herself. Hello, my name is Yuahi Kurenai, a recently promoted Jonin. Uzumaki Naruto, nice to meet you, Naruto said, introducing himself. He then asked the newcomer, is it true that you're the Genjutsu mistress of Konoha? People have started calling me that, but there is still much I must learn, Kurenai said in a humble tone. I've been having trouble with Genjutsu, is there any advice you could give me? Naruto asked as politely as he could. Let's wait until we get to training ground 7 and we'll see, but I'll do my best to help, Kurenai said, happy that someone appreciated her chosen craft. You're coming with us, Kurenai-san? Hinata asked. Yes, Anko mentioned this special training of yours and I asked if I could help, Kurenai explained. She continued, I am interested in this new jutsu she mentioned and wanted to see it for myself. There isn't much to see yet, we just started making it a few weeks ago, Naruto admitted. It's impressive that you've developed anything. Creating jutsu, even with the proper affinity, takes years and the two of you are pioneering an entire nature transformation, Kurenai told the children. Thank you, Kurenai-san, Naruto said as the trio arrived at training ground 7. They were soon greeted by Anko and Iruka. Hello, Gakis, Anko greeted. Ohayo Anko-sensei, Iruka-sensei, Naruto and Hinata greeted. Kurenai, glad you could join us, Anko told her friend. Like I said last night, I'm curious, Kurenai told her friend. I remember. Now let's get started. Gakis, each of you a piece of this paper, Anko said, holding up a small piece of paper and pointing to other pieces. Hi sensei, her students responded, each taking a piece of paper. Now channel some chakra into the paper, Hinata, you first, Anko ordered. Hi sensei, Hinata responded. Upon channeling some chakra, the paper started to get wet. Thought so, Hinata, your chakra affinity is water, Anko said matter-of-factly. How does the paper tell you that exactly, sensei? Naruto asked. When chakra is channeled into the paper, one of 5 things happen depending on the nature latent in the chakra. For fire, the paper will ignite and turn to ash. For wind, the paper will split in 2. For lightning, the paper will wrinkle. For earth, the paper will turn to dirt and crumble away. For water, the paper will become wet, Iruka explained. Does it only ever respond one way? Naruto asked. As far as any of us know, yes. However, by the time most shinobi reach the rank of Jonin, they have mastered 2 natures, Iruka explained. He continued saying, many Kekkei Genkai involve combining 2 elements, and I have heard that the Sandaime Tsuchikage can use 3 natures to use something called dust release. That's cool, but what about yin and yang chakra? Naruto asked. There is no record of chakra paper reacting to either of those natures, but that is probably because yin and yang chakra are the basis for all non-elemental jutsu, Iruka explained. Alright Naruto, your turn, Anko ordered. Hi, Anko-sensei, but I thought I was just learning taijutsu. Naruto questioned. Weird, but I told Hinata I would teach her a few things, and nature manipulation seems like a good place to start, Anko explained. I thought it would be good for you as well. Some people believe that a person's chakra nature has an impact on how quickly they learn specific taijutsu styles. Now, no more stalling, Anko ordered. Hi sensei, Naruto said as he channeled chakra into the paper. The paper did something unexpected. It began to split in two but started to fade until it disappeared completely. Okay. That was weird, Anko stated. I think everyone should step back. I don't think it's done, Naruto said, taking a few steps back. What do yo? Anko started to ask as the unexpected happened once again. In the spot where Naruto had held the paper, a flame had appeared. After a few seconds, a mini cyclone took its place. Next up, a few sparks appeared. A sphere of water soon replaced that. Afterwards, the water turned into mud and then dried out, leaving a dirt clod. The dirt soon started to crack and light began radiating through the cracks. The dirt finally crumbled away to reveal a ball of light, and soon the light turned into a mass of darkness before fading out of existence again. What was that? Anko asked. I don't know, but I think Hokage-sama should know about this, Kurenai said. I already know, Kurenai, a voice said. Sarutobi Hiruzen accompanied by Hitaki Kakashi were approaching from the direction of the memorial stone. I came to pay my respects to those who are no longer with us. When I ran into Kakashi here, we both saw what just happened. I must admit it was interesting, Kakashi said in a serious tone. Any ideas as to how it happened, Hokage-sama? Iruka asked. None, I'm afraid, Hiruzen admitted. I have an idea, Hinata said. What is it, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. Remember Ichiro-san's explanation of dark matter and how if it exists it is in everything? Hinata asked Naruto. I do. Are you saying my chakra nature allows me to manipulate the dark matter in everything? Naruto asked. Maybe, Hinata said. What exactly are the two of you talking about? Kakashi asked. The two academy students explained the concept of dark matter and its relationship to Mu. When they were finished, the Hokage said, after hearing that, I believe young Hinata might be right. Naruto may very well be able to use one nature as easily as the next. But what about the light and darkness? Kurenai asked. Yin and Yang release are also called the dark and light release respectively, and because Mu exists between the two, Naruto may be able to create techniques based on light and darkness as well, the Hokage suggested. That sounds awesome, but maybe we should test that theory, Gigi, Naruto said. I agree, Naruto, but I am at a loss as to how to test light and dark techniques simply because I don't know of any, the Sandaime admitted. I'm already creating Mujutsu. Creating two more nature transformations couldn't be that much harder, Naruto said, mostly in an attempt to reassure himself. Maybe, but for now let's stick with the 5 established natures, Hiruzen suggested, seeing Naruto's discomfort. The Hokage then said, Naruto, I am going to teach you some low-level jutsu and I want you to try them. Hi Gigi, Naruto said. Hiruzen then proceeded to teach Naruto Kaden, Phoenix Flower Jutsu, Futon, Great Breakthrough, Suiden, Gunshot, Doden, Headhunter Jutsu, and Raiden, Discharge. After which he had Naruto try each, and while it was clear that he was just a beginner, Naruto did indeed succeed in using each jutsu. Well, it seems young Hinata's theory was correct. Naruto, with this you may very well be on your way to being the next Shinobi no Kami someday, the Sandaime said, clearly impressed. That sound cool, Gigi, but I still need to test the other two natures, Naruto said, happy for the compliment but still feeling as though it was undeserved without light and dark jutsu to test out. You're still young, you have plenty of time, Hiruzen said. Noticing the position of the sun, he said, before anything else though, you kids need to get to class. Sure thing Gigi and thanks, Naruto said. Turning to Anko he said, sorry we couldn't actually train Anko-sensei, should Hinata-chan and I meet you here tomorrow? Same time same place Gaki, Anko responded. Turning to her boyfriend she said, Uruka-kun I guess you better get going too. Yeah, see you tonight? Uruka asked. Of course, Anko responded. With that the students and the Chunin instructor headed for the academy, leaving the others to discuss Naruto's latest surprise.